Alright, what's up? How's it going, everybody? We're here today with Oscar-Claude Monet's 1872 painting, Impression, Sunrise. And now, as a matter of fact, I've mentioned Impressionism before, especially in the context of, I believe, Van Gogh. And this is actually the original Impressionist painting that sort of sparked the use of the term. And Impressionism, definitely something you should consider looking up. I will try to eventually make a video on it. Now, we start here. It's titled as such because you sort of look at it, it's only an impression of what the artist is looking at. See how hazy this is? See the blues? See, nothing's really concrete. Over here, you might confuse these for trees. These are really ships, obviously, because this is a sea, sort of, a port, and sort of various workings coming off of the land, and smoke rising off into the air. It's just giving the impression of these things. It's not really a painting of those things. The only truly concrete things in this painting are the sun and these two boats, and potentially, but really these two boats. And it was potentially called Impression Sunrise, just so nobody would accuse him of saying, hey, why didn't you finish the painting, you know? Why aren't these painted in full, you know? So by letting people know that it's an impression, they're going, oh, okay, so that's not what he was going for. This is what he was going for. And I feel like that's a pretty safe move, but maybe I feel like art's sort of about interpretation, and I feel like he might have wanted to leave. I mean, I certainly can't tell a master like Monet how to do his own work, but how to title his own work, but I can't say I necessarily agree with being that explicit in explaining how a painting should be interpreted. Although that's exactly what I'm doing right here, interpreting this painting. Now, the most striking part of this painting is right here. I nearly pointed at it with my fingers, but I have a mouse. Right here, this sun. Now, it really sticks out. It's very much in contrast to the general gray scale, almost blues, and yes, there are oranges, but it still strikes a contrast to them. It might seem brighter than everything else in this painting, but as a matter of fact, very interesting to look up. If you look up a desaturated version of this image of this painting, it's really the same brightness as, just about the same exact level of brightness as the area around it, which is fantastically interesting. It really reveals a lot about humans, but we're interpreting a painting here. That's an interesting side note, though. So this is the most striking image of the painting, this little sun here, and I'm afraid I can't zoom in right now, but you can definitely see the little swirls that comprise the that comprise this just about perfect circle, and it's really something else to look at. It's so tiny, it seems so insignificant, but it really draws the eye, just as the reflection of the sun draws the eye further down the painting from there, and then you sort of see, oh, well, there's a little boat in the water and somebody's rowing it. Oh, what are these little brush strokes? By the way, fantastic brush strokes, of course. Are these waves? Is something floating in the water? It certainly doesn't appear to be a reflection of the above, in the sense that maybe the sun is a reflection of the sky. Maybe these are certainly a reflection of the ships in the harbor. And this is Le Havre. I think this is where this took place. No, sorry. This took place in Le Havre. This is where the painting is set. I think that's in France, and you can really I mean, there's nothing distinctly French about this painting, but giving that sort of context allows you to say, oh, well, what was going on in France around 1872? I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure, but it's certainly something to think about. And a lot of, I mentioned earlier, a lot of the use of gray. You see, to give the water a lot of texture. The water is probably the last thing you're going to be looking at in this painting, but this gives the water's given a lot of texture by this sort of backdrop of gray on which the reflections are drawn, and that's certainly not a reflection of the sky, as the sky certainly has gray. It's mostly this orange, this smeared orange, really, I don't want to say violent, but it certainly looks like it was violently applied to this canvas. If you see here, violent sky, but then sort of relaxing background, backing gray, and over here you can see like the detail practically fades off into nothing on this side, but you've got to assume this is some sort of dock this is taking place in a harbor, as if this is an impression painting, he's giving the impression of what he sees. He's on land, he's looking out over here, and I feel like the use of constructs, while they're painted in the same color essentially, which is sort of a mid to light grayish blue, you can definitely see where Monet means to create constructs that sort of jut out and actually are in existence, as opposed to just just being in the general whatever. I think that's actually a perfect word for it, just about the general whatever of what it is. These are the shapes that he's seeing. Everything else is nothing. It's just something to be drawn in the background. And thinking about what the focus of this painting is, it's easy to go ahead right away and say the sun. And to be honest, looking at color alone, that's likely the most likely choice. It's very much in contrast to the light grayish blues around it, but maybe it's this small little group in this rowboat. Maybe it's this even smaller group, although that's not likely. Maybe it's these ships in the background. You can certainly see the detail and fine attention to the brush strokes in this smoke plume. But I don't know. This is a very simple painting. There's not entirely too much to it, but it's interesting. I hope to revisit Monet again. This was Oscar-Claude Monet's Impression Sunrise from 1872, and that's Impression, Sunrise if you're looking it up to see it further, and definitely check out that desaturated version. Thank you very much for watching. I really do love Monet, and I hope to revisit him again. Thank you very much.